April 12, 1944, Rue de la Pompe, Paris, 16th arrondissement. Marie-Claude Vaillant-Couturier is 9 years old, has blonde hair and careful braids tied with blue ribbons, and is carrying a wicker basket containing 3 kilograms of plastique explosive concealed beneath a layer of spring vegetables. She does not know this. Her mother has told her the basket contains carrots and potatoes for Grand-Mère Dubois, who lives across the river and doesn't get out much anymore because of her arthritis. Marie-Claude believes this completely, the way 9-year-old children believe everything their parents tell them, which is exactly why her mother, Simone Vaillant, codename Mathilde, 34 years old, former schoolteacher, current member of the Brutus Network Resistance Cell, has chosen her daughter for this particular errand. The Germans don't suspect children, especially not little blonde girls with ribbons in their hair. "Remember what Maman told you," Simone says, kneeling to adjust Marie-Claude's coat, her fingers trembling slightly though her voice remains steady. "You walk normally. You don't run. If a German soldier speaks to you, you smile and show him the vegetables. You tell him you're taking them to your grandmother. You don't open the basket all the way. Just lift the cloth a little to show the carrots on top. Do you understand?" "Yes, Maman." Marie-Claude shifts the basket to her other arm. It's heavier than it should be for vegetables, but not suspiciously heavy. Her mother has carefully calibrated the weight, enough explosive to destroy a building, but not enough that a child would struggle to carry it. And if they ask where Grand-Mère lives? Apartment 4B, 28 Rue Claire, near the Eiffel Tower. The address is real. Grand-Mère Dubois actually lives there. The story has enough truth woven through it that Marie-Claude can deliver it naturally, without the tells that reveal lies. "Good girl." Simone kisses her daughter's forehead, holds her a moment longer than necessary. "Go straight there. Don't talk to anyone unless they speak to you first. Come right home when you're finished." Marie-Claude nods and sets off down Rue de la Pompe, her basket swinging slightly with each step, completely unaware that she's carrying enough high explosive to kill 20 people and level a 3-story building. Unaware that her mother is watching from the window with tears streaming down her face, hating herself for using her daughter as a weapon, knowing she has no choice because the alternative, letting the Nazis win, letting France die, is worse than any personal sin. The streets of occupied Paris are quieter than Marie-Claude remembers from before the war. Fewer cars, more bicycles, German soldiers everywhere, at intersections, outside important buildings, patrolling in pairs with rifles slung over their shoulders. The city feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Marie-Claude walks 3 blocks without incident. She passes Madame Chevrier's bakery, closed now. The oven's cold because there's no flour. She passes the park where she used to play before the Germans came and put up signs saying "Interdit aux Juifs," forbidden to Jews. She passes the butcher shop that now has a German flag hanging above the door. At the corner of Rue de la Pompe and Avenue Foch, a checkpoint. 2 German soldiers, young men, maybe 20, with the green-gray uniforms and coal-scuttle helmets of the Wehrmacht, stand beside a wooden barrier across the street. They're stopping every 3rd or 4th person, checking identification papers, searching bags and parcels, looking for contraband, looking for resistance members, looking for anything that might threaten the security of the Third Reich in occupied France. Marie-Claude's heart begins to pound. Her mother told her about checkpoints, told her what to do, but the actual experience of approaching armed soldiers who could shoot her, arrest her, hurt her, that's different from the theoretical discussion in the safety of their apartment. She slows her pace slightly, watching the soldiers. They wave through an elderly man with a cane. They stop a young woman, demand her papers, search her handbag, let her pass. They wave through 2 more people. Then they look at Marie-Claude. Halt. One soldier, the taller one with a thin mustache and tired eyes, raises his hand. "Come here, little girl." Marie-Claude approaches, trying to smile the way her mother taught her. Natural, innocent, just a child running errands for her grandmother. "Papers," the soldier says in German-accented French. She reaches into her coat pocket and produces the identification card every French citizen is required to carry. Marie-Claude Vaillant, born 1935, resident of Paris 16th arrondissement. The card is genuine, issued by the Vichy government, completely legitimate. The soldier studies it, compares the photograph to Marie-Claude's face, nods. "What is in the basket?" "Vegetables for my grandmother," Marie-Claude says, her voice small and uncertain. Not because she's acting, but because she's genuinely frightened. Carrots and potatoes. Maman sent me to bring them because Grand-mère doesn't walk well. Show me. Marie-Claude lifts the cloth covering the basket slightly, just enough to reveal the layer of carrots and potatoes carefully arranged on top. Beneath them, invisible, is the canvas package containing 3 kilograms of plastique explosive, 30 meters of detonation cord, and 4 pencil detonators. British-made devices that look like fountain pens, but contain acid that eats through wire to trigger an explosion on a preset timer. The soldier peers into the basket, sees vegetables, nods. Where does your grandmother live? Apartment 4B, 28 Rue Claire. The answer comes automatically, exactly as rehearsed. That's across the river. Long walk for a little girl. I don't mind. Maman says I'm very grown up. Marie-Claude smiles, the bright, innocent smile of a child who has no idea she's carrying enough explosive to kill everyone within 50 meters. The soldier's expression softens slightly. He's thinking about his own sister, perhaps, or a niece back in Germany, thinking that this little blonde girl could be German, could be Aryan, could be one of the children the Reich is supposed to be protecting. Go on, he says, waving her through, but be careful crossing Pont de l'Alma. The traffic is dangerous. Thank you, monsieur. Marie-Claude walks past the checkpoint, her basket swinging, her heart hammering so hard she's certain the soldiers can hear it. But she doesn't run, doesn't look back, just walks normally, the way her mother taught her. She doesn't know that she's just passed through the first of 3 checkpoints between her apartment and the actual destination, which is not Grand-mère Dubois's apartment, but a safe house on Rue de Varenne where resistance fighters are assembling a bomb large enough to destroy the Gestapo headquarters on Avenue Foch. She doesn't know that the vegetables in her basket will be removed and replaced with different vegetables, and she'll deliver the basket to Grand-mère as promised, maintaining the cover story. She doesn't know that her mother has been using her as an unknowing courier for 6 months, moving explosives, weapons, and documents through Paris in the one container German soldiers almost never search thoroughly, a little girl's vegetable basket. April 12th, 1944, 14:30 hours. Safe house, Rue de Varenne. Claude Bourdet, codename Lorraine, 42 years old, former journalist, current leader of the Brutus Network, watches through lace curtains as Marie-Claude approaches the safe house. The little girl walks with the unconscious confidence of a child who believes she's on a simple errand, completely unaware that she's carrying enough explosive to execute the most ambitious resistance operation in Paris since the beginning of occupation. She's early, observes Jacques Delmas, Bourdet's second-in-command, a former engineer who now specializes in turning British-supplied explosives into bombs capable of destroying reinforced concrete structures. Simone's daughter is reliable, Bourdet replies. She follows instructions exactly, which makes her perfect for this work. She's 9 years old, Claude. We're using a 9-year-old to transport military explosives through German checkpoints. If she's caught, she tells them she's bringing vegetables to her grandmother and knows nothing about explosives, which is true. The child is genuinely innocent, which is why the deception works. Bourdet's voice is hard, defensive. He's had this argument with Delmas before, will have it again, because Delmas still believes resistance work should follow rules of decency and morality. Bourdet knows better. The Nazis don't follow rules. They torture prisoners in the basement of 84 Avenue Foch. They shoot hostages in reprisal for resistance actions. They deport Jews, including children younger than Marie-Claude, to camps in the East from which no one returns. Fighting the Nazis requires matching their ruthlessness. If that means using children as unwitting couriers, then children will be used. The cause justifies the means. Marie-Claude knocks on the door. 3 quick raps, pause, 2 more raps. The code knock that identifies her as expected, not a random visitor. Bourdet opens the door, smiling warmly. Marie-Claude, how wonderful to see you. Come in, your grandmother is waiting upstairs.
The girl enters, setting her basket on the entry table. Maman said to bring these vegetables to Grand-mère. Are you Uncle Claude?
I am indeed. Your grandmother has told me so much about you. Bourdet lifts the basket. Why don't you go upstairs? First door on the right. I'll bring the vegetables up in just a moment. Marie-Claude climbs the stairs, her footsteps light on the wooden treads. Bourdet waits until she's out of sight, then carries the basket into the kitchen where Delmas is waiting. They work quickly, efficiently, with the practiced coordination of men who've done this many times. Remove the cloth, remove the top layer of vegetables. Beneath, a canvas package, carefully wrapped, marked with a small piece of red tape that indicates high explosive. 3 kilos, Delmas confirms, weighing the package in his hands. Plastique, British manufacture. Good quality. This combined with the other deliveries gives us 12 kilos total. More than enough.
Time frame?
I can have the device assembled and positioned by tomorrow night. But Claude, the Gestapo headquarters, is one of the most heavily guarded buildings in Paris. Getting the bomb inside, getting it into position against the load-bearing wall, getting our people out before detonation, the risks are enormous. The rewards are proportional, Bourdet responds. 84 Avenue Foch is where they interrogate prisoners, where they coordinate counter-resistance operations, where they plan the deportations. Destroying that building, killing the Gestapo officers inside, will disrupt German security operations for months. It's worth the risk. Delmas nods slowly. He's not convinced the operation will succeed, but he's convinced it's necessary, which in resistance work is often the closest thing to certainty anyone gets. Upstairs, Marie-Claude is sitting with an elderly woman who actually is her grandmother, Simone's mother, who lives in the safe house and serves as the final layer of the deception. If Marie-Claude is ever questioned about her deliveries, she'll describe visiting her grandmother, which is completely true. The explosives, the resistance fighters, the bomb making, all of that happens in parts of the house Marie-Claude never sees. Did you have any trouble on the way here? Grand-mère asks, offering Marie-Claude a small piece of chocolate. A luxury almost impossible to obtain in occupied Paris, saved for special occasions. There was a checkpoint, Marie-Claude says, taking the chocolate gratefully. A soldier looked at my basket, but he let me through. He was nice. He told me to be careful of the traffic. Good. You're very brave, carrying those heavy vegetables all this way. They weren't too heavy, and Maman says it's important to help family. Grand-mère smiles, but her eyes are sad. Her granddaughter is being used as a weapon in a war the child doesn't understand. It's necessary. Grand-mère knows this, supports the resistance fully, but necessity doesn't make it less tragic. Here, Grand-mère says, repacking the basket with actual vegetables from her kitchen. Take these back to your mother. Fresh carrots from the market. Tell her I said thank you for thinking of me. Marie-Claude accepts the basket, lighter now, containing only vegetables, and heads home, completely unaware that the delivery she just made will result in the death of 43 German officers and the destruction of the Gestapo's primary interrogation facility in Paris. April 13th, 1944, 0200 hours, basement workshop, Rue de Varennes. Jacques Delmas works by the light of a single shielded lantern, his hands steady despite the knowledge that one mistake will vaporize him and the entire building. On the workbench before him, 12 kilograms of plastique explosive, malleable, stable, more powerful than dynamite, shaped into rectangular blocks. Beside the explosive, 30 meters of primacord, 4 pencil detonators, wire, tape, and a simple mechanical timer salvaged from a kitchen clock. The device he's building is inelegant but effective. 12 kilos of plastique arranged in a shaped charge designed to focus the blast against a specific structural point. The primacord connecting the blocks to ensure simultaneous detonation. The pencil detonators as backup, British-made precision instruments that use acid to eat through wire, triggering the explosive after a preset delay. The mechanical timer is the weak point. It's not designed for this purpose, has been modified by Delmas to trigger an electrical detonator, and could fail in a dozen different ways, but it's what they have. The British supply drops include weapons and explosives, but rarely the sophisticated timing mechanisms needed for complex demolitions. So Delmas improvises, using parts cannibalized from kitchen appliances, telephone systems, and electrical fixtures. The result looks like something a child might build. Wires twisted together, components held in place with electrical tape and hope. But the physics are sound. When the timer reaches 0, it will complete a circuit. The circuit will trigger the detonator. The detonator will ignite the primacord. The primacord will detonate the plastique. And 12 kilograms of high explosive will transform into a shockwave moving at 8,000 meters per second, a pressure front capable of pulverizing concrete and human bodies with equal efficiency. How long? Bourdet asks from the doorway. He's been upstairs, coordinating with other resistance cells, ensuring everyone knows their role in tomorrow night's operation. 4 more hours to complete assembly, another 2 for testing the timing mechanism. We'll be ready by nightfall. Delmas doesn't look up from his work. Inserting detonators into plastique requires absolute focus. One slip, one spark, one moment of inattention, and he'll die without knowing he made a mistake. And the delivery method? Simone has identified a laundry service that makes deliveries to 84 Avenue Foch 3 times per week. Tomorrow is a scheduled delivery day. We'll hide the bomb in a laundry cart underneath clean linens. The cart is large enough to contain the device and heavy enough that extra weight won't be noticeable. The laundry service personnel, are they aware? No, they're unwitting participants. The cart will be intercepted en route, the bomb inserted, then the cart will continue to its destination as scheduled. The delivery personnel will carry the device directly into the building without knowing they're doing so. Bourdet considers this, using unwitting accomplices, people who have no idea they're part of a resistance operation, is tactically sound but morally complicated. If the operation fails, if the bomb is discovered, the laundry workers will be arrested, interrogated, probably executed as accomplices. But they'll die innocent. They'll be able to honestly claim they knew nothing, suspected nothing, did nothing wrong. That innocence won't save them. The Gestapo executes people for less, but it might spare them the worst of the interrogations. And if the operation succeeds, if the bomb detonates as planned, the laundry workers will be nowhere near the building when it explodes. What about placement? Bourdet asks. The bomb needs to be positioned against the load-bearing wall on the ground floor, eastern side. The structural analysis indicates that's the critical point. Destroy that wall and the upper floors collapse. The laundry cart will be left in the ground floor storage area, precisely where it needs to be. The cleaning staff moves the cart there every delivery day. They'll do the same tomorrow, unknowingly positioning our bomb exactly where it needs to detonate. Timer setting? 8 hours after delivery. The cart typically arrives at 900. We set the timer for 1700, 5 in the afternoon. Maximum German personnel in the building, minimal French civilian staff. The secretaries and cleaning workers are mostly gone by 5. The Gestapo officers work late. Bourdet does the mental arithmetic. Maximum German casualties, minimum French casualties. It's as surgical as resistance bombing can be, which isn't very surgical at all. 12 kilograms of plastique in a confined space will kill everyone within 30 meters, regardless of nationality. Innocents will die. There's no avoiding it. But the alternative, doing nothing, allowing the Gestapo to continue operating unopposed, means more arrests, more torture, more deportations. The moral calculation is simple, even if the emotional weight is crushing. Proceed, Bourdet orders. I'll coordinate exfiltration routes for the team. Once the bomb is delivered, everyone goes to ground for at least 72 hours. The German response will be immediate and severe. Delmas nods, already refocusing on the device in front of him. Wire by wire, connection by connection, he assembles the instrument that will, if everything works correctly, kill dozens of German officers and demonstrate that occupied Paris is not pacified, that resistance continues, that the Third Reich's control is more fragile than it appears. April 13th, 1944, 1400 hours, Gestapo headquarters, 84 Avenue Foch. Sturmbannführer Klaus Barbie, 30 years old, head of the Gestapo's Section 4 in Lyon, temporarily assigned to Paris to coordinate counter-resistance operations, reviews the latest intelligence reports with mounting frustration. The Brutus network has been active for 18 months, has conducted 23 successful operations against German targets, and remains almost completely uncompromised. We have identified 14 members, his assistant reports, pointing to photographs pinned to a wall-sized map of Paris. 8 have been arrested, 6 remain at large, including the leadership. Claude Bourdet, codename Laurent. Jacques Delmas, codename Mercury. Simone Vaillant, codename Mathilde. Barbie studies Simone's photograph, a surveillance image taken outside her apartment building showing a slender woman in her 30s with dark hair and an unremarkable face. She looks like 1,000 other Parisian women. Nothing in the photograph suggests she's a resistance operative who's helped kill 17 German soldiers and destroyed 2 supply depots. What do we know about Vaillant? Former schoolteacher, widow. Her husband was killed at Sedan in 1940. 1 child, a daughter aged 9. She lives at 23 Rue de la Pompe, 16th arrondissement. We've had the apartment under surveillance for 2 weeks. Nothing suspicious. She teaches part-time at a primary school, shops at the local market, visits her mother occasionally, model citizen. Which probably means she's an excellent operative, Barbie observes. The best resistance members are those who maintain perfect cover identities. Has she been followed? Intermittently. Our surveillance resources are limited, and she's low priority compared to suspected leadership figures. When she's been followed, she's done nothing suspicious. Grocery shopping, visiting her mother, taking her daughter to school, normal civilian activities. Barbie studies the photograph more carefully. Something about Simone Vaillant troubles him, though he can't articulate what. A sense, developed through years of hunting resistance fighters, that this unremarkable schoolteacher is more dangerous than she appears. Increase surveillance on Vaillant. I want her followed continuously for the next week. I want her apartment searched when she's out. I want her phone tapped if it isn't already. And I want surveillance on the daughter. The daughter, sir? She's a child. Which makes her useful for resistance work. Children pass through checkpoints without thorough searches. Children carry messages, transport contraband, serve as lookouts. I've seen it before. Barbie taps Simone's photograph. If the mother is resistance, the daughter is probably being used. Find out how.
The assistant makes notes, nods, leaves to implement the orders.
Barbie remains in the intelligence room, studying the map of Paris with its constellation of pins, marking resistance cells, suspected safe houses, known drop points. The city looks like a battlefield, which it is, though the fighting is hidden beneath a veneer of occupation normalcy. For every German officer walking safely through Paris, there are 100 French civilians who would kill him given opportunity and means. For every checkpoint that processes civilians without incident, there are dozens of resistance members moving weapons, explosives, and information through carefully constructed cover identities. The occupation is an illusion. The Third Reich controls Paris only to the extent that overwhelming force suppresses resistance. But the resistance hasn't been suppressed. It's been driven underground, made more sophisticated, forced to adapt. And adaptation makes it more dangerous. Barbie knows that somewhere in Paris, right now, resistance cells are planning operations, building bombs, identifying targets, preparing to strike, and the Gestapo's counter-resistance efforts, arrests, interrogations, informant networks, are barely keeping pace. If he could destroy the Brutus network, arrest Bourdet, Delmas, Vaillant, and the other key operatives, it would significantly disrupt resistance activities in Paris. Other cells would lose coordination, lose access to British supplies, lose the institutional knowledge that makes complex operations possible. But the Brutus network is careful, disciplined, professional. The operatives maintain rigorous security protocols, use dead drops instead of direct meetings, compartmentalize operations so captured members can't compromise the entire organization. Breaking them will require either extraordinary luck or extraordinary intelligence work. Barbie intends to provide both. April 13th, 1944, 2100 hours, Rue de la Pompe. Simone Vaillant reads bedtime stories to Marie-Claude, her voice calm and steady despite the knowledge that tomorrow her daughter will unknowingly participate in the most dangerous operation the Brutus network has ever attempted. And the princess lived happily ever after, Simone concludes, closing the storybook. Time for sleep, ma chérie.
Maman, Marie-Claude asks sleepily, when will the war be over?
It's a question Simone has been asked many times, has never successfully answered. How do you explain to a 9-year-old that the war will end when enough people have died, when enough cities have been destroyed, when one side finally lacks the strength to continue fighting? Soon, Simone lies. The Americans and British are winning. It won't be much longer. And then Papa will come home? Simone's heart breaks. Marie-Claude is too young to fully understand death, still believes her father is away fighting and will return when the war ends. Simone hasn't had the courage to explain that Papa died 4 years ago at Sedan, that the telegram from the War Ministry wasn't a mistake, that he's never coming home. Sleep now, Simone says, kissing her daughter's forehead. Dream of happy things. She extinguishes the lamp and leaves the room, closing the door quietly. In the kitchen, she pours a glass of wine, real wine, saved from before the occupation when such things were plentiful, and tries not to think about tomorrow. Tomorrow, Marie-Claude will make another delivery, just vegetables as far as the child knows. But those vegetables will be exchanged for items that will be loaded into a laundry cart, which will be delivered to 84 Avenue Foch, which will explode at 1700 hours and kill everyone in the building. And if anything goes wrong, if the bomb is discovered, if the laundry cart is searched, if German intelligence has penetrated the operation, then people will die. French resistance fighters, German soldiers, civilians who happen to be nearby, and possibly Marie-Claude, if the Gestapo traces the explosives back to their courier. Simone finishes the wine, pours another glass. She's been in the resistance for 2 years, has participated in 17 operations, has killed German soldiers by providing intelligence that led to ambushes and bombings. Her hands aren't clean. She stopped being innocent the day she decided fighting the Nazis was more important than preserving her own morality. But using Marie-Claude, using her own daughter as an unwitting courier, crosses a line Simone thought she'd never cross. And the fact that she's crossed it, that she continues crossing it every time she sends Marie-Claude out with a basket of explosives disguised as vegetables, haunts her. After the war, if she survives, if France is liberated, if the nightmare ends, Simone will have to live with what she's done. Will have to explain to her daughter that the simple errands to Grand-Mère's house were actually missions to transport military explosives. Will have to watch Marie-Claude's face when she realizes her mother used her, lied to her, put her in danger without her knowledge or consent. But that's a problem for the future. Tonight, Simone focuses on tomorrow's operation and prays that everything goes according to plan. April 14th, 1944, 8:30 hours, Laundry Depot, Rue de Varenne. The laundry cart is white wicker, 1.5 meters long, mounted on 4 wheels, filled with clean linens ready for delivery to 84 Avenue Foch. Beneath the linens, invisible to casual inspection, is Jacques Delmas's bomb. 12 kilograms of plastique arranged in a shaped charge, connected to a mechanical timer currently set for 0, waiting to be activated. André Mercier, the laundry service driver who makes this route every Tuesday and Friday, loads the cart onto his truck without noticing anything unusual. The cart is heavier than normal, but only slightly. The linens look correct. Everything appears routine. He drives through Paris toward Avenue Foch, smoking a cigarette, listening to German military music on the radio because that's all that's broadcast anymore. It's a beautiful spring morning. The trees are blooming. The sky is clear. At a stop sign 3 blocks from the laundry depot, a man in workman's clothes steps into the street and waves Mercier to a halt.
Engine trouble? The man asks in French. No,
Mercier starts to respond, but the man is already opening the passenger door, climbing into the cab, pressing something cold and metallic against Mercier's ribs. A gun. Drive normally, the man says quietly. Follow my directions. Don't do anything stupid and you'll survive this. Mercier's hands shake on the steering wheel, but he drives. What else can he do? The gun is pressed against his side. The man seems calm, professional, not someone who can be reasoned with or overpowered. Turn left at the next intersection, the man orders. They drive 3 blocks, turn into an alley. Another man is waiting, older, with wire-rimmed glasses and the hands of someone who works with tools. The 2 men exchange nods. Out, the first man orders Mercier. Leave the keys. Don't look back. Walk to the end of the alley and keep walking for 5 minutes. If you turn around, if you run, if you call for help, you'll be shot. Understand? Mercier understands. He abandons his truck, walks away without looking back, his heart hammering. Behind him, he hears the truck door open and close, hears activity he can't see and doesn't want to understand. Jacques Delmas works quickly, efficiently. Remove the top layer of linens. Activate the timer. 8 hours from now, 1700 hours. Replace the linens carefully. Add additional sheets to compensate for the bomb's bulk. Make everything look normal. 3 minutes. That's all it takes to transform a laundry delivery into a weapon capable of destroying a building. The first man, Louis Garnier, another Brutus Network operative, climbs into the truck's cab and drives away, continuing the delivery route as if nothing happened. The cart still contains linens. The route is unchanged. Everything appears normal. Except now, the laundry cart contains a bomb ticking down toward detonation. April 14th, 1944, 09:15 hours. Gestapo headquarters, 84 Avenue Foch. The laundry cart enters the building through the service entrance on the eastern side. The same entrance used 3 times per week for the past 18 months, processed by the same guards who've seen the same laundry service driver so many times, they barely glance at his papers anymore. Louis Garnier, wearing the dead driver's uniform, having studied the route for 3 weeks, pushes the cart through the checkpoint with the bored efficiency of someone who's made this delivery 100 times. The guard glances at the cart, sees clean linens, waves him through. No one searches the cart. Why would they? It's laundry. Clean sheets and towels for the Gestapo officers who work late, who sometimes sleep in the building, who demand the same domestic comforts in occupied Paris that they'd have in Berlin. The cart is heavy, but laundry carts are always heavy when fully loaded. The linens are slightly disarranged, but linens are always disarranged after transport. Everything is normal, routine, unremarkable. Garnier pushes the cart down a corridor, following the route he's memorized. Turn left at the first intersection. Continue 20 meters. Turn right into the storage room on the eastern wall. The load-bearing wall that, according to the structural engineer Delmas consulted, is critical to the building's integrity. The storage room is empty, except for shelving units and previous laundry deliveries. Garnier positions the cart precisely where Delmas instructed, against the eastern wall, equidistant from the two support columns, positioned so the shaped charge will direct maximum blast force into the structural elements. He glances at his watch, 0922 hours. The timer is set for 1700, 7 hours and 38 minutes until detonation. Time to leave. Garnier exits the storage room, walks back through the corridor, nods to the guard at the service entrance, climbs into the truck, and drives away. The entire delivery took 11 minutes. No one suspected anything. No one will suspect anything until the bomb detonates and the building collapses. By then, Garnier will be 20 kilometers away, with an alibi placing him at a cafe in Montmartre, drinking wine and playing cards with witnesses who'll swear he never left their sight. April 14th, 1944, 10:30 hours. Interrogation room, 84 Avenue Foch, basement. Sturmbannführer Barbie continues the interrogation of Henri Rousseau, a suspected Brutus network member arrested 2 days ago during a sweep of suspected resistance safe houses. Rousseau is 43 years old, a print shop owner, father of 2. He's been questioned for 36 hours with minimal rest, no food, and increasing physical persuasion. So far, he's revealed nothing useful. "Let's try again," Barbie says, his voice calm despite the violence of the previous hours. "The Brutus network. You know the leadership. You've worked with them. Give me names, and this ends." Rousseau's face is a mask of bruises and dried blood. One eye is swollen shut. His left hand is broken, 3 fingers bent at unnatural angles from where Barbie's assistant crushed them with pliers. But his remaining good eye holds steady, defiant. "I print leaflets," Rousseau says, his voice hoarse. "Political materials. I don't know who writes them. I don't know who distributes them. I'm paid in cash. That's all." It's the same story he's maintained for 36 hours. It might even be partially true. Resistance networks use compartmentalization precisely to prevent captured members from compromising the entire organization. Rousseau probably doesn't know the leadership's true identities. He might genuinely believe he's just a printer. But he knows something. Everyone knows something. Barbie has been interrogating resistance members since 1942, has developed an instinct for separating the truly ignorant from those who know more than they're revealing. Rousseau knows more. "Your print shop," Barbie says, consulting his notes. "It's located at 47 Rue des Martyrs, Montmartre. We searched it. We found the printing press, the paper stocks, the typesets, all legitimate. But we also found this." He slides a photograph across the table. It shows a small basement room beneath the print shop, accessible through a hidden door behind a storage shelf. In the room, weapons, British-made Sten guns, ammunition, grenades, detonators. Rousseau's face remains impassive, but Barbie sees the flicker of recognition. The man knows about the weapons cache, possibly helped store them there. "That room doesn't exist legally," Barbie continues. "It's not on building plans. The entrance is concealed. Someone went to considerable effort to create a hidden weapons storage facility beneath your print shop. Who was that someone, Henri? Who asked you to hide British weapons in your basement?" Rousseau says nothing. Barbie nods to his assistant, who approaches with the pliers. This is the part Barbie dislikes, not from moral squeamishness, but from professional frustration. Torture is inefficient. People under extreme pain say whatever they think their interrogators want to hear, regardless of truth. Extracting reliable intelligence requires patience, psychological pressure, and careful verification of every statement. But the Gestapo's mandate is results, not methodology. And sometimes, pain produces answers that patience cannot. The assistant takes Rousseau's right hand, positions the pliers around the thumb. "Last chance," Barbie says. "Give me a name, just one name, someone in the network, and this stops." Rousseau closes his eyes. His lips move silently, praying perhaps, or cursing, or simply preparing himself for what comes next. "Very well," Barbie says. The assistant applies pressure. The sound of breaking bone is distinct, sharp. Rousseau screams, a raw animal sound that echoes off the concrete walls of the interrogation room. 3 floors above, in offices where Gestapo analysts review intelligence reports and coordinate counter-resistance operations, the scream is barely audible. The basement interrogation rooms are soundproofed specifically to prevent such disturbances from affecting the building's normal operations. 4 floors above, in the administrative section where secretaries type reports and file cabinets store records of arrests and deportations, the scream is completely inaudible. And in the storage room on the ground floor, eastern wall, a mechanical timer continues counting down towards 0, completely oblivious to the suffering happening 20 meters away. April 14th, 1944, 14:45 hours, Café de Flore, Boulevard Saint-Germain. Simone Vaillant sits at an outdoor table drinking ersatz coffee made from roasted acorns because real coffee is impossible to obtain under occupation. She's supposed to be grading papers from her students, the cover identity she maintains as a part-time teacher, but she can't focus on the children's handwriting exercises. In 75 minutes, the bomb will detonate. In 75 minutes, the Gestapo headquarters will collapse, killing dozens of German officers and unknown numbers of civilians who happen to be nearby. In 75 minutes, she'll know whether the operation succeeded or whether her network is compromised, and everyone she knows will be arrested, interrogated, and executed. The waiting is worse than the danger. At least during active operations, during the deliveries, during the reconnaissance, during the careful planning, there's something to do, something to focus on. Now there's only waiting and imagining all the ways the operation could fail. What if the timer malfunctions? Delmas tested it, but mechanical timers are unreliable. What if it triggers early, or late, or not at all? What if the bomb was discovered? German security performs random searches. What if someone decided to inspect the laundry cart? What if they found the explosives? What if the structural analysis was wrong? What if 12 kilograms isn't enough to collapse the building? What if it just damages one room, kills a few people, and accomplishes nothing except triggering massive reprisals? "Mademoiselle, more coffee?" The waiter interrupts her spiraling thoughts. Simone nods, watches him pour the awful acorn substitute, tips him with occupation francs that buy less every week as the German military bleeds France's economy dry. Across the cafe, 2 German soldiers sit laughing, smoking cigarettes, enjoying the Paris spring as if they're tourists rather than occupiers. They're young, maybe 20, barely older than her students, and they look happy. Probably they're from some safe posting, clerks or drivers, not combat troops. Probably they think occupation duty is fortunate, comfortable, better than the Eastern Front where their comrades die in Russian winters. In 72 minutes, some of their comrades will die in a Paris building collapse. Maybe not these specific soldiers, but soldiers like them. Young men following orders, believing they're serving their country, unaware that the building they work in contains a bomb. Simone feels no remorse for them. They're wearing the uniform of an army that invaded her country, killed her husband, threatens her daughter's future. They're complicit in the occupation, even if they personally haven't committed atrocities. But she does feel the weight of it. The knowledge that she's helped build a weapon that will kill people, that will reduce human beings to corpses and statistics. This is what resistance means, not grand gestures or heroic sacrifices, but grinding moral compromises, using children as couriers, killing soldiers who might be decent people in different circumstances, living with the knowledge that every action, even necessary actions, carries a cost measured in human lives. She finishes the ersatz coffee, leaves coins on the table, walks toward the metro. She needs to be home when Marie-Claude returns from school, needs to maintain the fiction of normalcy, needs to pretend that today is ordinary, that nothing significant is happening, that in 68 minutes, the world won't change. April 14th, 1944, 16:55 hours, Gestapo headquarters, 84 Avenue Foch. Sturmbannführer Barbie is in his 3rd floor office reviewing the day's interrogation reports when his telephone rings. "Barbie." "Sir, this is Sergeant Hoffman, main security desk. We've received a report from the laundry service. Their driver, André Mercier, he claims he was hijacked this morning during his delivery route. Says someone forced him out of his truck at gunpoint, took his vehicle and uniform." Barbie feels ice form in his stomach. What time did this occur?
Approximately 0900 hours, sir.
The same time the laundry delivery arrived at the building. Barbie is moving before he consciously processes the implications, running toward the office door, shouting for building evacuation. Get everyone out! Now! Sound the alarm! There's a bomb!
April 14th, 1944. 1700 hours.
The mechanical timer reaches 0. The electrical circuit completes. The detonator fires, igniting the primacord. The primacord detonates at 6,900 meters per second, simultaneously triggering all 12 kilograms of plastique explosive. The shaped charge converts solid explosive into a directed shockwave moving at 8,000 meters per second, focused precisely on the load-bearing wall of 84 Avenue Foch. The wall, reinforced concrete and steel, designed to support 5 floors, resists for approximately 3 milliseconds before catastrophic structural failure occurs. The explosion is not particularly loud outside the building. Most of the blast energy is absorbed by the structure itself, directed into destroying concrete and steel rather than propagating through air. But inside the building, the effect is apocalyptic. The eastern wall disintegrates. The support columns on either side of the blast point shatter. The ground floor ceiling, which is simultaneously the second floor's foundation, collapses as its load-bearing support disappears. The second floor drops into the void where the ground floor used to be, pancaking everything beneath it. The third floor, suddenly unsupported, follows. Then the fourth floor, then the fifth. The entire eastern half of 84 Avenue Foch collapses in progressive failure, each floor crushing the one beneath it. The accumulated weight of 5 stories of concrete, steel, furniture, and human bodies, creating a cascade of destruction that takes approximately 6 seconds from first explosion to final collapse. Sturmbannführer Barbie is on the 3rd floor running toward the stairs when the floor disappears beneath him. He falls into darkness, surrounded by collapsing concrete, his last thought a mixture of rage and professional admiration for whoever planned this operation. Henri Rousseau is in the basement interrogation room, still conscious despite hours of torture, when 5 floors of concrete collapse on top of him. Death is instantaneous, painless, compared to what he's endured over the past 36 hours. The 2 young German soldiers from the cafe are in the administrative section, 4th floor, filing reports. They have time to look up, to see the ceiling cracking, to register confusion before the building comes down on them. 43 German personnel die in the collapse. Gestapo officers, Wehrmacht clerks, SS guards, drivers, administrative staff. 11 French civilians die, secretaries, cleaning staff, a translator, 2 telephone operators. 3 are still alive in the rubble, trapped, injured, calling for help that may or may not arrive. The western half of the building, away from the blast, remains standing, damaged but structurally sound. People pour out of exits, screaming, covered in dust, some injured by falling debris. Emergency crews are already responding, sirens wailing across Paris. April 14th, 1944, 17:15 hours, Rue de la Pompe. Simone hears the explosion from her apartment, a distant rumble like thunder, except the sky is clear and the sound comes from the wrong direction. She knows immediately what it is. The bomb worked. Marie-Claude, doing homework at the kitchen table, looks up. Maman, what was that noise?
I don't know, chérie. Perhaps construction work. Don't worry about it.
Simone walks to the window, looks toward Avenue Foch, though the building is too far away to see. Somewhere in that direction, the Gestapo headquarters is collapsing. German officers are dying. The resistance has struck the most successful blow against the occupation since the beginning. And Marie-Claude, sitting at the kitchen table practicing her arithmetic, has no idea she helped deliver the weapon that made it possible. Simone feels triumph, guilt, relief, and horror mixing into an emotional cocktail she can't untangle. They've hurt the Germans. They've demonstrated that resistance continues. They've shown that occupied Paris isn't pacified. But they've also killed people. Germans, yes, but also French civilians who worked in that building. They've guaranteed massive reprisals. The Germans will arrest hundreds, execute dozens, implement harsher security measures that will make future operations more difficult. The cost of resistance keeps climbing. But what's the alternative? Submission? Collaboration? Allowing the Nazis to occupy France unopposed? No. The cost is terrible, but it's worth paying. It has to be worth paying, because the alternative is unthinkable. Maman? Marie-Claude asks. Are you crying? Simone wipes her eyes, forces a smile. Just dust from the window, Sherry. Nothing to worry about. Keep working on your arithmetic. You're doing very well. She turns away from the window, away from the direction where the Gestapo headquarters is burning, and focuses on her daughter, innocent, unknowing, used as a weapon in a war she doesn't understand. After the war, Simone will tell Marie-Claude the truth. Will explain what the vegetable baskets really contained. Will watch her daughter's face when she realizes she was carrying explosives through German checkpoints, when she understands that the simple errands to Grand-Mère's house were actually resistance operations. But that's a problem for the future. For now, Simone focuses on maintaining the fiction that everything is normal, that today is ordinary, that her 9-year-old daughter is just a child bringing vegetables to her grandmother and not a courier for the French resistance. May 8th, 1945. Liberation. When Allied forces finally liberate Paris, when the German occupation ends and France is free again, the full story of the resistance will emerge from the shadows where it's been hidden for 4 years. Marie-Claude Vaillant, now 10 years old, nearly 11, will learn that the vegetable baskets she carried were concealing explosives. Will learn that her mother used her as an unknowing courier. Will understand that the simple errands she remembers fondly were actually dangerous missions that could have gotten her arrested, tortured, killed. She will be angry. Then she will be understanding. Then she will be proud. Because the bombing of 84 Avenue Foch, the operation she unknowingly participated in, helped disrupt Gestapo operations in Paris, helped save lives by preventing arrests, helped demonstrate that resistance continued even in the darkest days of occupation. The cost was terrible. 54 people died in the collapse. Hundreds more were arrested in reprisals. The Germans executed 20 resistance members in response, shot them in public squares as warnings. But the resistance continued, and eventually, France was liberated. The little girl with the basket, carrying vegetables that concealed enough explosive to destroy a building, became a symbol of how ordinary people, including children, contributed to resistance. How the Germans searched and searched, but missed the one thing that mattered. How courage and cleverness could overcome superior force. It's a story that will be told and retold, mythologized and embellished, transformed into legend. But at its core is a simple truth. A 9-year-old girl carried 12 kilograms of explosives through 3 German checkpoints, smiled at soldiers who could have shot her, and helped destroy the Gestapo's primary interrogation facility in Paris. The Nazis searched her basket. They saw vegetables. They missed the one thing that would destroy their headquarters. And that made all the difference.